Welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint podcast, where we help you navigate the exciting world of gold IRAs.
Absolutely.
Today, we're diving into a question we get a lot.
Okay.
What's the difference between gold bullion and gold coins? And which is right for your gold IRA?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Before we get started,
Right.
don't forget to check out our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It's packed with tips for choosing the right gold IRA company for you.
It'll really help you out.
Now, let's get started.
Sounds good.
So,
Yeah.
it may seem like gold is gold, right?
Mhm.
But there are some really important distinctions, especially when it comes to your retirement savings.
Yeah, you got it.
Would you agree with that?
I would absolutely agree with that.
So let's start by defining our terms.
Okay.
What exactly is gold bullion?
Gold bullion is simply physical gold in bulk form.
Okay.
Think bars or ingots.
Mhm.
Its value is directly tied to the weight and purity of the gold.
Okay.
No fancy designs or historical significance here, just pure, unadulterated gold.
So the heavier and purer the gold bar, the more valuable it is.
That's right.
Okay.
The price is determined by the market forces of supply and demand, and of course the purity of the gold itself.
Okay.
Now, within the world of gold bullion, you have different types: bars, coins, and something called rounds.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Sure.
What are the differences between bars, coins, and rounds?
Gold bars, as you might imagine, are the big players.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
They're often preferred for large investments and retirement accounts because of their size.
Makes sense. They're like the gold standard of gold, right?
You could say that.
Okay.
Then you have gold coins,
Uh-huh.
which are minted with specific weights and purity.
Hmm.
Some popular examples you might have heard of include the South African Krugerrand, the Canadian Maple Leaf, and Philharmonic coins.
Ah, so these are the coins you might see in those old pirate treasure chests.
That's right.
What about these rounds you mentioned?
Yeah.
Are they like ancient coins too?
Not quite. They resemble coins. But here's the key difference.
Okay.
They typically lack legal tender status, meaning they're not officially recognized as currency.
Ah.
Private mints produce them, not governments.
Hmm.
While they can be quite beautiful, their value is primarily tied to their gold content, just like bullion.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when it comes to bullion, it seems like bars are the go-to for retirement accounts,
Right.
but coins and rounds offer a little more variety.
For sure.
But why would someone even choose gold bullion for their IRA in the first place?
That's where we get into the benefits.
Okay.
For retirees, stability is a major concern.
Right.
Gold has this long-standing reputation as a safe haven asset during times of economic uncertainty.
So it's like an anchor in stormy seas.
Exactly.
Okay.
It has intrinsic value.
Mm.
It's a tangible asset that has been a store of wealth for centuries.
Right.
When things get rocky, people tend to flock to gold,
Yeah.
which can drive up its price.
Okay.
So that's a big plus.
That sounds appealing, especially when you're thinking about retirement.
Yeah.
But what about the risks?
Uh-huh.
Are there any downsides to investing in gold bullion?
Of course.
Okay.
Like any investment, gold bullion has its risks.
Okay.
One of the main ones is market volatility.
Hmm.
Gold prices fluctuate sometimes quite dramatically.
Yeah.
It's not a set it and forget it type of investment.
Okay.
You need to be comfortable with the ups and downs.
So you need to have a little bit of a strong stomach and a long-term perspective.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another factor to consider is storage.
Hmm.
Gold bullion, especially in bar form,
Yeah.
can be bulky and requires secure storage.
Right.
This can add to your costs.
Okay.
Think insurance secure vaults or safety deposit boxes.
So those are some things to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we've covered the basics of gold bullion.
We have.
Now let's turn our attention to gold coins.
Okay.
What makes them different?
Gold coins occupy this fascinating space between investment and collectible. They are, of course, primarily made of gold, just like bullion.
Right.
But the key difference lies in their design and potential historical significance.
Okay, now we're talking.
Right.
So these coins actually have faces and dates on them, not just generic chunks of gold.
Precisely.
Okay.
This is where numismatics comes in.
Hmm.
Some gold coins are more than just their gold content. They have additional value because of their rarity, condition, and historical significance.
Because you could potentially have a gold coin that's worth way more than just the price of gold,
You got it.
simply because it's a rare collector's item.
Absolutely.
And this added numismatic value can be a huge draw for some investors.
Yeah.
It adds another layer of potential appreciation to your investment.
Exactly.
It's like owning a piece of history, but it's also made of gold.
Yeah.
I can see the appeal.
For sure.
But how are gold coins actually priced?
Mm.
It must be a bit more complex than bullion.
It is.
How
You've
do
got
you?
the current market price of gold as a baseline, just like bullion. But then you add the layer of numismatic value.
Mm-hmm.
Things like rarity condition and historical significance all come into play.
So it's kind of like buying a vintage car.
That's a great analogy.
The year, the mileage, and the condition all affect the price.
Absolutely.
And just like vintage cars, you need to know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Not all gold coins are created equal in the eyes of collectors.
Right.
Speaking of different types of coins,
Yeah.
there are two main categories: bullion coins and collector coins.
Okay.
Okay, let's break those down.
Sure.
What are bullion coins exactly?
Bullion coins, as the name suggests, are primarily valued for their gold content.
Okay.
They're often produced by government mints and have a guaranteed purity and weight.
So they're like the workhorse gold coins, reliable and straightforward.
Exactly.
That's
They're
good.
highly liquid and easily traded because their value is directly tied to the price of gold.
Okay.
Some popular examples include the American gold eagle, the Canadian gold maple leaf, and the South African Krugerrand, which we mentioned earlier.
And what about collector coins? Are we talking about ancient Roman coins or something?
Not necessarily ancient,
Okay.
but definitely coins with a story to tell.
Oh.
Collector coins are chosen for their rarity, historical significance, or unique designs. They might have been minted to commemorate a special event or feature a famous historical figure.
It sounds like you could spend a lifetime just learning about all the different types of collector coins out there.
It's amazing.
So much history.
Absolutely.
But for our purposes today, the key takeaway is that gold coins offer a level of diversity and potential appreciation that you don't get with bullion alone.
That's right.
So it's all about finding what aligns with your individual investment goals and interests.
Yeah.
And don't forget, if you're considering a gold IRA,
Right.
we have a free checklist over at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It can help you find the right gold IRA company to fit your needs. All right, so we've explored the world of gold coins, bullion coins,
Right.
collector coins,
Yeah.
historical significance, the whole 9 yards. But let's bring it back to our listeners who are focused on their retirement savings.
Okay.
What are the benefits and risks of actually investing in gold coins for your IRA?
Good point.
Okay.
Many of the benefits mirror those of gold bullion.
Okay.
You have the potential for appreciation as the price of gold rises, just like with bullion. Okay. Gold coins can act as a hedge against inflation, and they provide that sense of stability and diversification within a retirement portfolio.
So those benefits sound pretty similar to bullion.
They are.
It's all about that safe haven aspect of gold.
Exactly.
What about the risks? Are they similar to bullion as well?
There are some similarities, yes.
Okay.
Gold coin prices, especially those tied to numismatic value, can be volatile.
Okay.
They can go up and down along with the market and, of course, the price of gold itself.
So just like with bullion, you need to be prepared for those fluctuations and not panic when the market takes a dip.
Exactly.
Patience is key with any long-term investment.
Yeah.
And then there's the issue of authenticity, which is particularly important with gold coins.
Right.
With collector coins in particular, there's always the risk of counterfeits. That's a scary thought.
It can be.
How can people protect themselves from getting scammed?
Doing your research is crucial.
Okay.
Buy from reputable dealers, get coins authenticated by experts, and consider professional appraisals, especially if you're dealing with particularly valuable pieces. Don't be afraid to ask questions and make sure you feel confident about the source.
So knowledge is power when it comes to gold coins.
Exactly.
You need to know what you're buying and who you're buying it from. Now, we talked about storage being a potential concern with bullion.
Right.
Does that apply to coins as well?
It does.
Okay.
Though perhaps to a lesser extent.
Okay.
Gold coins, especially valuable collector's items,
Right.
need to be stored securely to protect them from damage or theft.
So while you might not need a massive vault like you would for those giant gold bars,
Right.
you still need to take security seriously.
Absolutely.
A home safe or a very secure deposit box is still a good idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Security should always be a top priority regardless of the size of your gold investment.
I agree.
Now, I think we've reached the point where we can do a head-to-head comparison of bullion versus coins.
Okay.
This will help our listeners clearly see the key differences and decide which might be right for them.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I think this will be really helpful.
I think so too.
What's the first category in our bullion versus coins showdown?
Let's start with the most obvious one, physical form.
Okay.
Bullion typically comes in those larger bars, while coins are, well, coins.
Right.
Smaller, more portable, and often with more intricate designs.
So round one goes to coins for convenience and aesthetics.
Right.
What's next?
Next up, let's talk about purity. Does the purity of the gold differ between bullion and coins?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I would assume they're both pretty pure, right?
they are.
Okay.
But there can be some subtle differences.
Okay.
Bullion often has a higher purity level,
Mm.
usually 99.5% pure gold or even higher.
Okay.
Coins, on the other hand, might have a slightly lower purity because other metals are added to increase their durability.
So they're making those coins a little tougher to withstand wear and tear.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But purity still impacts the overall value, right?
It does.
Okay.
But it's not always a deal breaker.
Yeah.
It's just something to be aware of when comparing different options.
Right.
Now, for round 3,
Okay.
let's tackle liquidity.
Okay.
How easily can you convert these assets back into cash?
That's a big one for anyone thinking about retirement investments.
It is.
You want to be able to access your money when you need it, right?
Absolutely.
And generally speaking, bullion has higher liquidity.
Right. It's more standardized, so it's easier to buy and sell in large quantities. There's a larger, more established market for it.
So if you're looking for a quick and easy sale, bullion might be the way to go.
It often is, yes.
Okay.
But remember, rare coins can also have high demand, especially among collectors.
Right.
It just might take a bit longer to find the right buyer who's willing to pay a premium for that specific coin.
Okay, so bullion wins on speed,
Yeah,
but coins might have higher earning potential,
right.
depending on the coin, of course.
Of course.
What's the next category in our showdown?
Let's move on to storage and insurance.
Okay.
I have a feeling this one might favor coins given what we discussed earlier.
You're right.
Yeah.
Bullion, because of its size and value,
Uh-huh.
can be more expensive to store and insure.
For sure.
You might need a specialized vault or a high-security safety deposit box at a bank,
Right.
which can add up in costs.
Uh-huh.
And coins being smaller and more portable
Right.
might offer a bit more flexibility in terms of storage options.
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
You might be able to store them more easily at home in a safe or a secure location.
Right.
However, it's crucial to remember that security should always be a top priority regardless of what you choose or where you store it.
Right.
Don't underestimate the importance of protecting your investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Security is paramount.
for sure.
All right, what's next?
Let's talk about premiums and markups.
Okay.
This is where the difference between bullion and coins can really become apparent.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Break it down for me.
Coins, especially collector coins, often have higher premiums.
Okay.
This means you pay a price that's above the melt value of the gold itself.
Okay.
You're essentially paying extra for that numismatic value, the rarity, the history, the craftsmanship, the story behind the coin.
So you're paying a premium for the cool factor.
You could say that.
Okay.
And those premiums can vary widely depending on the coin, its condition, and how many others are out there.
Right.
Bullion, on the other hand, typically has lower premiums because its value is primarily tied to the gold content.
So if you're on a tight budget, bullion might be the more economical choice.
It could be, yes.
Right.
But remember, those higher premiums on coins can potentially lead to higher returns if you choose wisely, and the coin appreciates in value over time.
High risk, high reward.
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
It all depends on your investment strategy and how much risk you're comfortable with.
Now for our final round.
Okay?
Let's address the tax implications.
Okay.
Does the tax man treat bullion and coins differently when it comes to gold IRAs?
That's an important question.
Nobody wants to be surprised by a hefty tax bill come retirement.
Right. This is where things get a bit tricky.
Okay.
And it's always best to consult with a tax professional for specific advice.
Right.
But in general, gold bullion is often subject to higher capital gains tax rates because it's considered a collectible by the IRS.
So you could end up paying a larger chunk of your profits to Uncle Sam if you sell your bullion for a profit.
Potentially, yes. However, some gold coins might qualify for more favorable tax treatment if they're considered legal tender.
Ah, so there are some nuances there.
There are.
Definitely something to research carefully or discuss with a tax advisor who understands gold IRAs.
Absolutely.
Don't just assume all gold is treated the same way when it comes to taxes.
Right.
Do your homework.
Uh-huh.
Now, before we move on,
Okay.
don't forget to check out the free checklist we have over at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive.
It's a great resource.
It's a great resource to help you with choosing the right gold IRA company.
Absolutely.
Wow, that was quite a showdown.
It was.
Bullion and coins both have their pros and cons.
They do.
But I think the big question for our listeners is, how do you actually decide which is right for you and your gold IRA?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all answer here.
No.
It truly depends on your individual circumstances, goals, and risk tolerance.
Okay.
But we can guide you through some key decision points.
Perfect. Let's break it down step by step.
Okay.
What's the first thing people should consider when making this decision?
First and foremost, think about your liquidity needs.
Okay.
How quickly might you need to access those funds? Bullion tends to be more liquid, as we discussed.
Right.
It's generally easier and faster to sell those larger bars.
Right.
But if you're investing for the long haul and don't anticipate needing quick access to the funds, then that might not be as big of a factor.
So if you foresee needing quick access to cash, bullion might be the safer bet in terms of liquidity.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But if you're in it for the long game, coins might be worth considering, right?
Exactly. It all depends on your individual time frame and financial goals.
What's the next thing people should think about?
Next, consider your storage requirements and associated costs.
Mm-hmm.
Bullion being bulkier and often more valuable might require more secure and expensive storage solutions like a specialized vault or a high-security safety deposit box at a bank.
And coins being smaller and more portable might offer a bit more flexibility in terms of storage options.
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
You might be able to store them more easily at home in a safe or a secure location.
Right.
However, it's crucial to remember that security should always be a top priority, regardless of what you choose or where you store it.
Right.
Don't underestimate the importance of protecting your investment.
Absolutely. Security is paramount.
Yeah.
Now, we talked a lot about different investment goals. How do those play into the bullion versus coins decision?
If your goal is purely capital appreciation based on the rising price of gold itself, then bullion might be the more straightforward option.
Okay.
It's directly tied to the gold market, and there's no extra numismatic value to consider.
Right.
But if you're also interested in the potential upside of numismatic value, the excitement of potentially owning a rare or historically significant coin,
Right.
then coins could be a good addition to your portfolio.
So bullion for stability coins for a potential wild card.
That's one way to look at it.
Okay.
Bullion is like the reliable workhorse of the gold investment world, while coins are a bit more speculative but have the potential for greater returns.
And finally, I think the biggest factor for a lot of people is going to be their risk tolerance.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you factor that into the equation?
That's a great point. Risk tolerance is essential to consider with any investment, and gold is no exception.
Right.
Gold prices, whether bullion or coins, can fluctuate. Are you comfortable with those ups and downs?
Yeah.
Are you a more conservative investor who prioritizes stability and capital preservation? Or are you willing to take on more risk for the potential of higher rewards?
It all comes back to understanding your own comfort level with risk and aligning your investments accordingly.
Exactly.
There's no right or wrong answer. It's about what's right for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one final piece of advice I always give people is to never underestimate the value of expert advice.
Okay.
Talking to a financial advisor who specializes in gold IRAs can provide personalized guidance based on your specific circumstances, goals, risk tolerance, and financial situation. They can help you weigh the pros and cons of bullion versus coins and make the most informed decision for your unique needs.
That's always a good idea. A knowledgeable expert can help you navigate the complexities and make sure you're making informed decisions that align with your overall retirement plan.
Absolutely.
I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about gold bullion versus gold coins for your IRA.
I think so.
It was a fascinating deep dive.
It really was. We hope our listeners feel empowered to make the best choice for their golden years.
And remember, folks, to download that free checklist at goldira.blueprint.com/exclusive. It's packed with helpful tips for choosing the right gold IRA company for you.
Yeah, you won't regret it.
Don't navigate this world alone. Get the guidance you need to make the best decisions for your retirement.
Absolutely.
Thinking about your own retirement goals, do you lean more towards the stability of gold bullion or the potential upside of rare gold coins?
That is the question, isn't it?
It is. And we hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and tools to start making those decisions with confidence. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of gold IRAs. Yeah. Wow, that was Quite a showdown.
Yeah, it was a lot to consider.
Bullion and coins both have their pros and cons. But I think the big question for our listeners is, how do you actually decide which is right for you and your gold IRA?
That's the big question, right?
Right. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Nope, definitely not.
It truly depends on your individual circumstances, goals, and risk tolerance.
Right.
But we can guide you through some key decision points.
Absolutely. We can give you some things to think about.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's break it down step by step.
Okay.
What's the first thing people should consider when making this decision?
Well, first and foremost, you got to think about your liquidity needs. How quickly might you need to access those funds?
Right.
Bullion tends to be more liquid, as we discussed. It's generally easier and faster to sell those larger bars.
Okay.
But if you're investing for the long haul and don't anticipate needing quick access to the funds,
Yeah.
then that might not be as big of a factor.
So if you foresee needing quick access to cash, bullion might be the safer bet in terms of liquidity.
Probably, yeah.
But if you're in it for the long game, coins might be worth considering.
Could be, yeah.
It all comes back to your personal circumstances and goals.
Absolutely. Your own individual time frame and financial goals are going to play a big role.
What's another thing people should think about?
Well, next, you got to consider your storage requirements and associated costs.
Okay.
Bullion, being bulkier and often more valuable, might require more secure and expensive storage solutions, like a specialized vault or a high-security safety deposit box at a bank.
And coins being smaller and more portable might offer a bit more flexibility in terms of storage options.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay.
You might be able to store them more easily at home in a safe or a secure location. But remember, no matter what you choose or where you store it, security should always be a top priority.
Absolutely.
Don't underestimate the importance of protecting your investment.
Security is paramount.
It really is.
Now, we talked a lot about different investment goals.
We did.
How do those play into the bullion versus coins decision?
Okay, so if your goal is purely capital appreciation based on the rising price of gold itself,
Okay.
then bullion might be the more straightforward option. It's directly tied to the gold market, and there's no extra numismatic value to consider.
Okay.
But if you're also interested in the potential upside of numismatic value, the excitement of potentially owning a rare or historically significant coin,
Right.
then coins could be a good addition to your portfolio.
So bullion for stability, coins for a potential wild card.
You got it.
And finally, I think the biggest factor for a lot of people is going to be their risk tolerance.
For sure, risk tolerance is huge.
How do you factor that into the equation?
Well, you got to remember that gold prices, whether we're talking bullion or coins, they can fluctuate. So are you comfortable with those ups and downs?
Yeah. Are you a more conservative investor who prioritizes stability and capital preservation?
Exactly. Or are you willing to take on more risk for the potential of higher rewards?
It all comes back to understanding your own comfort level with risk and aligning your investments accordingly.
Couldn't said it better myself.
There's no right or wrong answer. It's about what's right for you.
For you, exactly.
And of course, this is where getting expert advice can be so valuable.
Oh, absolutely.
Talking to a financial advisor who specializes in gold IRAs can provide personalized guidance based on your specific circumstances, goals, risk tolerance, and financial situation.
Right. And they can help you weigh the pros and cons of bullion versus coins and make the most informed decision for your unique needs.
Exactly. And help you make sure you're making informed decisions that align with your overall retirement plan.
That's the goal.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about gold bullion versus gold coins for your IRA.
I think we did a pretty good job.
It was a fascinating deep dive.
It was a lot of fun.
And remember, folks, don't forget to download that free checklist at goldira.blueprint.com/exclusive. It's packed with helpful tips for choosing the right gold IRA company for you.
Definitely check it out.
Don't navigate this world alone.
No, you don't have to.
Get the guidance you need to make the best decisions for your retirement.
Absolutely.
So thinking about your own retirement goals, do you lean more towards the stability of gold bullion or the potential upside of rare gold coins?
Good question.
We hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and tools to start making those decisions with confidence.
It's what we're here for.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of gold IRAs.
Sounds good.